Please be seated, said the greffier. The President, the trial chamber declares continuity of the session. First, I would like the greffiers to report the presence of the parties to these proceedings. The greffier, we already checked the attendance of the parties. Today, Mr. Kasawut is absent. Thank you. The President, I would like the greffiers to include the attendance list into the transcript. The detention facility security guards, please bring the accused to the dock.
Monsieur le Président, il faudrait peut-être...
Mr. President, I think it would be well to check to ensure that future witnesses are not in the public gallery and remind witnesses who will appear that they cannot attend hearings.
C'est bon?
The President, the Chamber would like to inform you the following people. I mean, the people whose name appear in the witness list are not allowed to sit in the public gallery to observe these proceedings, because doing so is contradicted to the internal rules on witnesses. And also at this court we have the witness and support and the WESU unit who can help the witnesses to make sure that the proceedings are smoothly maintained. So from now on, if the witnesses, if you are witnesses, then you have the obligation to leave the courtroom or the public gallery before you are called to testify. And I would like the WESU unit to help facilitate these proceedings as having agreed so far. Yesterday, we were asking the accused concerning the facts of the security office M13. Questions were asked by Judge Lavenge. Today, the chamber will proceed the questioning, and I would like Judge Lavenge to proceed with further questions regarding that fact.
Judge Lavenge, we shall continue with the questioning, and I would like to put questions to you, still with regard to the conditions under which people detained in M13 were detained there. Can you explain to us what security measures were taken to ensure that prisoners would not escape? Were there particular facilities, were there particular measures taken?
The accused. Regarding this matter, at first, people were kept to do farming. The first stage, people were kept in the house. After they were interrogated, they were smashed. And the second stage, they were taken to Tul Swai Mia's village, Tul Swai Mia sector, so that they could do farming. So at night they were shackled. In the daytime they were let out to work. And I remember that one of the detainees grabbed a rifle weapon and then shot at the guards and escaped. After that, we relocated the location to Tropang Chrap area, as I told you yesterday. When we moved to Tropang Chrap at night, detainees were shackled. In the daytime, they were let out to to do farming. Female detainees were let out to grow eggplants. And for male detainees, were let by me myself to build the dike. And I did so because I was be ready to judge if anyone would be willing to grab a weapon from the guard. So these people were tied together in the necks using the hammock string. So one string was tied to 3 people so that they could not manage to escape. So this is one of the approach to keep them. And we did not have any effort to build a house or shed. That's why we chopped down some kind of bamboo to dry them and then put them under, leave them under the water so that they could be used as fence to surround that area. And using this kind of bamboos, with the bamboo as a fence, then we dig the pitches about 2 meters wide and 3 meters long, and with the palm leaves as a roof to protect the bombing, and also to make sure that the victims could not escape. And both men and women were shackled to their legs. So this is the method to keep them in the detention so that they could not escape or could not steal a weapon to fight back.
Judge Lavergne, did the guards have special instructions for cases where a detainee escaped or attempted to do so?
The accused. I have my good eyesight, and I was smart with that, especially watching people who attempted to escape. So I think I am the one who was very good at spotting any person who was willing to escape. So even Brother Momnai was not as good as I was. So if any guard was under his watch, some detainee could escape, then he would be questioned. But for people who could manage to escape, in our strict principle, I was to report to the superior immediately when the detainee escaped. So if anyone escaped from M13, whenever that person was arrested by the military or by any unit, then that person would be smashed immediately at the spot when he or she was found.
Judge Lavergne, did the guards have weapons, and did they have any instructions with regard to how the weapons were to be used if there was an attempt to escape?
The accused, the guards had weapons. So when someone escaped, then the guards had to fire at the escapee. I would like to recall the event that happened when someone escaped and that the guard had to shoot at him or her. At that time, I was not at the detention location, and the detainee who was the victim escaped, and then Brother Momnai chased after him and tried to shoot him. Mr. Soon, my guard was good at shooting at the detainee. And then he shot accidentally. His bullet hit brother Mom Nai. So normally this is the incident that our guard mistaken Mom Nai for a detainee. So it's part of our policy actually to shoot at someone who tried to escape. I would like to tell you that brother Mom Nai did not have any or take any revenge against Camera Soon. They could live together happily.
Judge Lavergne, so the instruction was to, the list was distributed yesterday with the pseudonyms to be used for those witnesses. I would like to draw this to your attention because we have live broadcast and it is best to avoid any difficulties. Have you understood this clearly? Do you wish your counsel to explain what is at stake?
Voilà, donc je reprends ma question.
Judge Lavergne, to resume, you confirm that the instruction was that if a detainee tried to escape, the guards were to shoot at him. Is that right?
The accused, this order was laid down from the superior and I order my guards to do so accordingly.
Judge Lavergne, you also mentioned a while ago an escape attempt with a guard who was killed with a gun. And yesterday, if I remember correctly, you mentioned the escape of several detainees and you reported the event or the incident to your superiors, particularly Von Vet, and asked for punishment, if I remember correctly. Can you tell us under what conditions this last incident occurred?
The accused, thank you, Your Honor, for raising these two matters. To ask me at the same time, these two matters are interrelated a little bit. First, when the detainee escaped at Phnom Penh, I asked one comrade to guard on the termites mount. At that time I was not in because I worked with the zone. Then the comrade who were watching on the termites mount, he could smoke, and there was a detainee, a strong-built detainee who asked him for a tobacco. Then the guy grabbed the weapon and shot at the guards. At 5 p.m. I was reported. At 7 p.m. I approached the zone and asked to meet one way to report to him the practical event. At that time, we were not ready to fire at the detainee because the guards were fired at Comrade Pon, Comrade Mi, and Comrade Mao were injured. So this is the first event. For the second event, there was a firing at the detainee at M13 in 1973. The detainee was named Ye. I did not know where he came from. The superior would like the confession of these individuals so that we could trace where the weapon was brought in. He was aggressive, and I was afraid that it would be the situation would repeat. I went to meet Duch, alias, who was not far from me, about 10 kilometers from my location. When I reported the details of the event to him, Duch made the decision, but it beyond my purpose. My purpose was to ask the superior to allow that person to be smashed secretly, but Duch made a decision to ask me to order one of the comrades who allowed such a detainee to grab the weapon to shoot at that detainee in the head. And I did not see the event, but the detainee was shot in the head as ordered, and the brain were scattered and stained at somebody's, and the event shocked everyone in the neighborhood. And this was not my original purpose, but the decision was decided by Duch. And after that, that person, the comrade was shocked and regretful. And a few days later on, he asked me to leave the location, and I have never heard from him. But I never point the finger to him for shooting the detainee, and I don't really point my finger to Brother C for ordering such a shooting, but I myself am responsible for the crime, because the crime was so brutal, and such event really intimidated other people at the location.
Donc, dans le premier incident dont vous faites état, est-ce qu'il y a eu plusieurs personnes qui sont évadées? Puisque vous avez fait état d'un autre événement où, semble-t-il, un certain nombre de détenus avaient réussi à s'évader. Est-ce que je dois répéter la question?
Pardon, monsieur.
Mr. Petit is on his feet. Mr. President, I think that suddenly Channel 2 became French and Channel 3 English, and so there was no translation. What is more, the accused's microphone was off. Perhaps the translation could tell us what the channels are. Channel 1 is Khmer, Channel 2 is English, and Channel 3 is French. Judge Lavergne, can I be heard? Is it working? So you mentioned the first incident, and I'd like to know whether this involved the escape of several detainees.
The accused, at first, during the first incident, there were about 30 detainees who escaped. So all the detainees could manage to escape. No one left.
Donc cet incident, vous...
So this incident, you are relating it. So you report this incident immediately to your superiors by asking them to punish them. Is that true?
The accused, I learned this information at 5 p.m. and I asked my superior, Won Waith, so that I could report to him at night.
Est-ce que cet événement a entraîné des modifications dans le...
Judge Laverne, did this event lead to modifications in the way that the prisoners were being watched over, and what were the measures that were taken in consequence?
The accused, after that incident, as I already told your honors, I asked Won Waith to punish me. A little while later, there was a prisoner who was sent into the facility again, and the principle was still applied. The detainee was shackled days and nights. At first, they were only shackled at night. In the daytime, they would be let out to do the work. But later on, they were shackled all day and night when the detainees increased in numbers. And when there were more of them, then we let them out to do the farming. At that time, that we started to dig the pits to protect the bombing and to protect the victims from escaping.
Judge Laverne, so you're telling us that the pits were dug also to avoid having the prisoners escape. Is that so?
The accused, that is correct, Your Honor. The pit was about 2 meters tall, so it's about the head of the victims. So if they were put in the pit, they would not be able to climb up that 2 meters high wall.
Est-ce qu'il y avait...
Judge Lavergne, were there collective pits and were there individual pits where there was only one prisoner?
The accused, when there was only one detainee, I did not dig the pit. The pit was only dug during the B-52 bombing. So there were at least 5 detainees in the pit. The most number was about 10. So there was no individual pit for individual detainees. And I tried to dig the individual pit for a detainee when only I oversaw the S-21. The accused said, could Your Honor repeat your question? The President asked to make sure that the accused mic is well activated.
Judge Laverne, I'd like to repeat my question, were there collective pits or were there also individual pits where there was only one prisoner?
The accused. I would like to state that I started to dig the pits only when B-52 bombing started. So the pit was about 2 meters wide, 3 meters long, and 2 meters deep. These pits were designed for all detainees. They were not just designed for individual detainees.
Judge Lavergne, were these pits close to the river, or were these pits flooded at one time?
The accused, the pits were about 5 meters from the river bank. In 1974, maybe before October, I guess the pits were flooded. So everyone fled the area, even the pigs were floating, and detainees were moved to another higher area about 50 meters from that location. So in 1974, in October, probably there was a big flood.
Judge Lavergne, if I've understood correctly, you told me that the prisoners had been moved. However, were there detainees that had drowned?
The accused, so far as I remember, no detainee was drowned. At the beginning, I did not allow them to move, but when the water kept increasing, then I asked them to move from the pits to the higher ground. But because they were so weak to climb the wall of the pits, I led them to the higher ground. But later on, they died of sickness, but they were not drowned.
Judge Lavergne, this flooding, was this flooding reported? Did you report about this flooding to your superiors?
The accused, I actually reported to the superior, but I did not do it immediate as I did so when the detainees escaped.